something that had so much awesome leading up to it, and then was one of the biggest things, period, in any medium of any sort of anything in 1999, and that was the return of Star Wars in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, May 19th.
This was
May 19th, 1999.
we were talking about hype leading up to The Matrix. This is on another level.
Whole different.
I remember. I was still pretty young at this point. I was 13, and I remember it was a big deal when I realized my parents and all of their friends were taking the day off from work to go see it in theaters. And I was like, wait, these people are adults with jobs, and they're gonna skip out to go see a movie. And I was like, something is making them like kind of return to their days as kids the way I am right now. And I've always loved the movies. I don't have to justify to myself skipping work or anything meaningful to go see a movie because that's just what I do. But to have like someone who's, my parents were doctors, to do something like that, it really put it in perspective. I mean,
sorry, your surgery's gonna have to wait. I gotta see the Phantom Menace. I'm sure it won't
I'm going
spread
to
any
surgery.
further
Can we
in the meantime.
reschedule my surgery for another day? I want to see it too.
But that hype, I mean, I had been waiting for this since I was 4 years old. 1983, I see Return of the Jedi, and I'm like, what's next? Because by then I realized that was episode 6. That meant there was a 1 through 3, and that meant someday, and it was college, and I'd waited that long, and the trailer was very well constructed.
Yeah.
It looked like
Excellent
it was
trailer.
Yeah.
Excellent trailer.
And so I go, going to see this. I'm living in Florida at the time, so I wait in line a week before the movie comes out.
Which is worth pointing out that this is pre-buying tickets online.
There's no Fandango.
No,
There's
you
no-
want a
literally-
ticket, you need to be there.
There were news stories of people literally camping out weeks ahead of time to get to the first showing of the film.
I met some of them. They were amazing human beings. They were very excited about Star Wars, and I feel bad for them now. We waited in line, a group of friends, 11 hours outside the theater a week before to buy our tickets, and it was an event. There were hundreds of people. It was the largest theater in Florida at the time, and people wrapped around this plaza, just hundreds and hundreds. There was a LAN party going on with laptops. There were people playing Star Wars board games and role-playing games.
On 1999 laptops, it must have been about a 45-minute LAN party.
Yeah, there was that. Well, they found an outlet.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No, they had to power the hub too, because you sat for hours before the line moved. They didn't open. The box office didn't open till 4. We just got there very early in the morning to wait for the box office to open. And my favorite part was these guys working on a Star Wars puzzle, and they worked on it all day, but they didn't finish. And as the line started to move, people kept working on it.
That's awesome.
So that by the time we came back around to finish, it was just sitting on the sidewalk done. But yeah, that, and then came back a week later, waiting in line another 6 hours with our tickets to get in at 12:01 a.m. to watch that movie, and we sure did watch a movie.
And what was special about it for me too was that I was at this perfect age where Star Wars was a massive formative part of my growing up. It was the first movie I ever experienced in any way because I was actually in my mom's belly when she watched it in the theaters, the original Star Wars.
Did the midichlorians influence you there?
Oh God, don't say the M word.
Midichlorians are not real in my mind.
No, but I grew up loving these films, and I was just at an age in 1999 where I could feel some kind of regret that I missed getting to experience them in the theaters. I mean, you could have experienced them in the theaters with the re-releases, but it was the idea of that I wasn't there when it happened.
Oh yeah.
Was like, aw, man.
Well,
so this is gonna be like my chance. I was like, I'm gonna get a chance to experience it, and then 20 years from now, a new generation will look back and go I can't believe I didn't get to experience it. It didn't quite work out that way, but I don't want us to miss. Because we're talking about the experience of it, and sure, was Phantom Menace a great Star Wars movie? Maybe not a great Star Wars movie, but I've talked about this before. Right? Sure, fair enough. But there are great moments and scenes in it. I remember just loving the pod racer scene, especially the lack of music for most of it was so tense. It just dialed you into that little mini sport that they were creating for you, and it was a long sequence, and you really got to take it in. There was a real, when I say epic, I don't just mean epic, oh my God, it's epic. It had a sense of like an epic. You know, the way it was shot and how long the sequence did.
This is a movie also that wowed a lot of people just from a technical standpoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had
Really
there was-
pushed green screen CG technology
Exactly.
forward.
Like George Lucas had always been known as someone who was really pushing the envelope and who famously went back to the original trilogy and redid a bunch of the special effects to better suit his vision because he just didn't have the technology that he wanted back in the 70s when he made the first three. And so much had been made of what he was going to do with the brand new digital technology, which, you know, by today's standards is a little bit outdated, but back then it was stuff we had never seen before, like big sort of realistic looking CGI animals and monsters and aliens walking around scenes and like all these crazy special effects, like you mentioned the pod racing, but the whole scene where Anakin destroys the whatever thing in the sky, like that battle scene, like that's so awesome. Like the CGI even holds up from then, and it's super cool. And as 13-year-old Sean Finnegan watched it, I was amazed. It was awesome.